Yo, what's going on, everybody? Back with another trade review watch list. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna start off with trades from today, roll into watches for tomorrow. There's a few, but nothing crazy. And then we will skedaddle. Try it out here a little bit earlier. I'm back at the desk, and I'm around this evening, so I figured instead of sticking to the later time, we'll try and start it off early and get it done. So, trades from today, DWTX, first one on the list. Little loss here, and then just never got back in. So daily chart wise, we went over yesterday. Big multi-day run, 4 up to 12, gapped up, pushed into prior day's highs right here, and then faded off. So I was shorting bounces using VWAP as a guide, and once it reclaimed VWAP, I stopped and moved on. We did get a pre-market clear out, little head and shoulders action here, and once these 1330s failed to follow through, was a bit choppy, bit of grinding gearing action, but if you stuck to a set risk, you would have been rewarded. But I ended up not getting back in there. I knew I didn't have a whole lot of time back on desk this morning, so I just let it be. But I think there is still opportunity for lower on this. The 4 EMA is still got room down into this 8 to 9 range. It's held this base here in the 10 to 1020 spot. So the more it touches it, the more I like for odds of a rollover. SNOA I traded today, but just for reference sake, similar idea where you get DWTX, fade, little bounce, and then looking for pops versus a prior level. So would like to see something like that where you get this thing to fade, starts to roll over, and then use pops versus prior levels. So I think odds do favor a gap down on this. If 10 breaks, I think you see 9 pretty quick. If we get a gap down or flat open, I like that for a cautious lean. Volume isn't super high on this. Trade's pretty thin, and when it starts to swipe bids or swipe offers or take out bids, the spread starts to widen up pretty quick. So definitely something to be mindful of, but I think that there's still range to trade on that. Palantir, I traded this one today, just a quick little scalp. Basically the plan on it from yesterday was looking for it to come up and retest this 80 mark. We got quite a big gap up, so I was thinking possible exhaustion with it gapping through 80. Was looking at it as an exhaustion gap, so waiting for a failed fall through setup. And once this 83.50 gave way, I started shorting pops and just covered for about $1. So nail bail that one, and then SNOA was the other trade. Nothing sizable. Put on a starter here in pre-market so that it was in my window while I was watching DWTX just because of how thin it was trading. So I put some on right here using these 350s, 360s as a guide. And then once we got market open, I put on a full 1 hour risk versus 350. We got this pop through highs and fail, so I added and moved risk to high a day. We got that flush to 3, which if you look left was prior day's lows. So I covered into that flush, and it swiped back a bit too quick, so I covered the next pull. Ended up coming back way farther than I expected. So taking this one off watch, just a bit too choppy, didn't fizzle out like I wanted. And then VSTE was my main trader today, was a day one gapper, wouldn't have been on the watch list yesterday. But big multi-day run, history of one and dones since then. I saw the news this morning seemed a bit fluffy. They were getting some money, but from, I think it was the Australian government, I believe, and it was like an up to amount, the 150 or 180 million or something. And it was going towards a project that was going to cost like 300 and something million. So even with this loan that is debt, and then going to be going into more debt to continue this project. So the news didn't seem like a big deal to me, but I saw it rip up here, 7 a.m. PR came out, and basically what I did, I was watching it on a 2-minute. PR comes out, we get a pullback, and I put a line right there. And then we got another pullback, I put a line right there, let it keep going. We got a pullback, I put a line right there, kept going. We got a pullback, I put a line right there. So now each stair step higher was setting higher lows. And once 92, not once it wicked through, but once it really started to fail under, which if you look at the 1 minute, you can see right here, this candle is a lot different than this candle and this candle that are wicking through it. So you get a hard fail, and then it starts to chop around sub VWAP right on this other 87 line, and a flush right through it. So I added there. And then it started to top now at this 87 level. So I added. At this point with this add, I was sized for pre-market highs. I was willing to hold into open given that I was sized wide enough and looking for pops up into 192 ideally to exhaust. And once we got the opening range set, a low a day break, I added. But it held up, so I had to size down. I still kept a core position, but I had to size out. It didn't get much higher. Added, new low a day, added. And these adds here, I think, were a bit emotional of adds. Once we got this hard crack, lower high, I was just a bit frustrated that I had covered. So I just hit it with a terrible average. So then now I'm emotional into these swipes. So I covered and took a full loss that immediately stuffed. So I went bigger here, bigger than the position I had this morning. So had like an 85s average over here. I was like an 83 average. So we got this pull. No bounces, we're holding, and then once this low a day broke, and then we reclaimed, I covered the next dip. Made small on it, but obviously holding till close was the way to go. But again, I'm off desk, so a bit tough for me to hold till close, trying to make sure that I'm on my computer covering buy close, and the swing shares were super expensive. For a borrow this morning, so I just had day trade shares borrowed. But anyways, that was where most of my focus was off the open. Still learning them. I don't know my way around gappers quite yet, but they're starting to make a bit more sense the way that they trade. Who do we got in here? We got Tina, Chris, El Jefe, Josh, Flashnet, Vincent. What's up? Okay, so then those were the trades from today. GV put out another PR this morning in pre-market. Literally all it did was just squeeze shorts. Came all the way back down and did nothing the rest of the day. This thing just likes to mess with shorts. So funny. Palantir continued trend after that week open. Ground all the way back. I'm not sure if it's ground or grinded. Not sure. I'd say ground sounds better. Ground all the way back. Orgo continues to hold 5. Still waiting for this one to pick a direction. You got this high connecting with these highs. And then you've got this, so a little pennant forming. Typically, when you get these flat bottoms and lower highs, it's not super bullish. You would want higher lows and a flat top, and that's a bit more bullish. No real plan on that one. DWTX, I went over that, looking for pops. I think this could have another day. And then CRVO, I haven't gone over this one yet. Big volume, first green day, with a high of 684. Let me just throw that in there. Right there. This one is the same group putting out mailers as DWTX. It's the same group. It got going. Big old morning spike and then sideways grinding all day. So shorts are on the wrong side here, fighting it, chopping themselves up. 520s right in here was key over under. You can see every time it would pull under it would get saved. A couple dips there in the afternoon versus 520s. But the way that, so they went through this mailer, went through kind of a seasonality where all of their picks were working. They would run for a day. Next day, they'd completely round trip. I've gone over these guys in prior live streams. I can't remember all the tickers that they've done in the past. I'd have to go back and look. But they would run for an entire day. Day two would completely round trip. So people were rewarded for these day one runners. And then eventually they would just use that volume of retail and they would round trip the same day. I go over this with gappers, with market cycles, where the time frame you get all of these day one gappers fade right to lows. And it works for a really long time because that's how typical markets act. You don't get sustained momentum unless you get certain catalysts or sympathy plays or sector momentum, and then you start getting sustained momentum. So typically everything just fades. You get that one, shorts are comfortable for months and months and months, and then you get that one that catches shorts off guard, goes crazy. People start chasing names, thinking they're the next one. So now that head of the snake starts going for 3, 4, 5 days. And then the sympathies start going for maybe 1 or 2 days. And then people start putting out PRs. And now the maximum dollar block of how much money retail has is spread across too many names. So they start to fail on day one. Maybe they run into the afternoon, gap down day two, never have a day two. Maybe they start to run up out of market open and then fail by midday and close weak. And then you'll start getting pre-market sets the high and they fade off right off market open. So that time frame in which they run starts shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. So in my eyes, the way that this is happening is very similar. So this mailer group, they've worked, but they haven't been super great lately. And DWTX was the first one that really caught people off guard. So this one goes for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So now people go to CRVO. This is the next one right after DWTX goes. And they think now this one is going to go for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So any price today is a deal because it's going to run for 4 days. So who cares what you're buying it at today? So could it? Sure. Do I think it will? No. The way that this squeezed out right at close, I think that was the last hurrah. Any shorts that thought that they made it through the day, they get swiped right at the end of the day, comes right back in. You got this 520 key level. So I'll be using blowouts versus 650. And once 520 confirms, a lot of the volume was churned in this sideways consolidation. And people were thinking that any price today was a deal because it's going to run for multiple days. So you've got more longs on the wrong side when this inevitably breaks 520, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next week, I don't know. But I'm going into it with a plan, with a set risk, put money on for that set risk. And once 520 confirms, I think game on and possible round trip back where it came from. So that's the thesis there. So CRVO and DWTX be my main couple of watches going into tomorrow. So, yeah. I think that'll be about it for this evening. And yeah, try not to do too much. Come in with a couple ideas. Gappers are working, so I'm still kind of dabbling in, seeing which ones are up at market open. And so I'll add those to watch as well. Maybe put one on, same kind of thing as VSTE, and see if I can figure that out. So, alrighty, thank you guys for stopping by. Anyone in IU, I will see you in the room. And the rest of you at the next watch list. Peace.